What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another training video. It's kind of been a while since I've posted a training video. I did post a quick little update the other day on my YouTube channel, but aside from that, it's been a while since I've really posted a full training session. And if you guys have been following me on Instagram or TikTok, you will be familiar why that is the case. And that is because about a month ago or so, probably like 3 weeks or so ago now, one of the gyms that I was going to closed down, and I was forced to go somewhere else. This gym that you currently see me training at is a gym that's within the same company, and so I got a free lateral transfer to this gym. Obviously, when the gym that you go to closes, they just kind of transfer you to a different gym within the same company. And this was the gym that I chose, and they have a lot of really, really good equipment. But I'm sure, as you guys know by now, I'm very, very particular and very, very anal about my training programming. And so needing to move to a different gym and use a bunch of different equipment was something that was pretty stressful for me. During that time, I really wasn't focused as much on going to the gym and getting film. I was more focused on going to the gym and just kind of getting settled into the gym and getting comfortable with the equipment. And just be able to put together a program that is going to be able to accomplish what I am trying to accomplish. So, like I said, it's been about 3.5 weeks to a month or so now that I've been at this new gym. By this point, I've gone through each of these training sessions 3 times at the very least. So I feel like at this point, I have a really good grasp on what it is that I'm trying to do and what my programming is going to be. But I don't want to talk about the gym move situation too much. I've kind of talked about that on a lot of my other social medias. What I want to do is use this as kind of like the first video where I'm showing you guys what my new programming is and what all the new exercises and everything are that I'm going to be doing. So today we are going to be going over legs B. This is my RDL and leg press leg rotation. And if you guys have been following the YouTube channel for a while and have watched my previous leg B training videos, then spoiler alert, the programming itself has not changed at all. The only thing that's really changed is the exercises that I'm doing. So the template, we'll call it that, the template that I'm following for my programming on this session is 2 sets of a standing calf raise, 2 sets of adductor, 2 sets of lying leg curl, 1 set of RDL, 2 sets of leg extension, 1 set of leg press, and then 2 sets of a bicep curl that I'll throw in there somewhere. 2 sets on everything across the board with the exception of the RDL and the leg press, because those are the 2 exercises that cause the largest amounts of fatigue per set. And so I feel that I can get the same amount with less volume out of those exercises. And also, if I add an extra set to those exercises, the fatigue that it creates is just absolutely tremendous. So with those multi-joint exercises, especially like a hinge pattern or a squat pattern, I'm really, really trying to limit my volume on that and get the most out of the least. I kind of just spent that whole time just talking and completely skipped over the standing calf raises. The standing calf raise that I was using at my previous gym was a Cybex model. It was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed it. The one that I do at this gym is actually a hoist model. This gym has a lot of hoist equipment, and this is really the first time that I've ever been at a gym that has hoist equipment. I know the reputation that hoist equipment has is not super good, but I have to say, up until this point, a lot of the stuff that I have used that is hoist, I actually don't mind at all. The calf raise is not bad. I do a hoist adductor in this session. I do a hoist dip in my push day. I do a hoist pull down on my push day. Like I do a decent amount of hoist stuff now, and I actually don't think that a lot of the hoist stuff that I've used is actually as bad as most people claim that it is. So that'll be one thing, I guess, to keep in mind, is I guess just try to have a little bit more of an open mind when it comes to your exercise selection. The lying leg curl that you're seeing me do is on a Life Fitness lying hamstring curl, which is probably my favorite lying hamstring curl of all time. I'm going to talk about this when we get into the leg extension in this session too, but I use the Life Fitness leg extension here. This gym has a ton of Life Fitness equipment, and a lot of it is actually really good, particularly the leg isolation stuff. So the Life Fitness leg isolation stuff has a lot of adjustable parts. Like the leg extension, you can adjust the seat, you can adjust the shin pad, you can adjust the knee pad. Like there's tons and tons and tons of adjustable pieces on these Life Fitness machines. And the advantage of that is when you have machines that have multiple moving and adjustable segments, you can really set up the machine to fit your exact specific structure so that you can make the leg extension or the leg curl or whatever exercise it is that you're doing perfectly match your own body's individual biomechanics. And that makes me a really, really big fan of a lot of the Life Fitness stuff. I'm actually going to completely contradict myself and talk shit about something that's Life Fitness right now after talking good about it. So the adductor that you see me doing is a hoist adductor. This gym actually has two adductor machines. It has this one, it has the hoist one, and then it also has a Life Fitness adductor. I actually think that the Life Fitness adductor is pretty crappy. It could be very good, but unfortunately there are two, I don't even know what to call them. They're little rubber stoppers or pegs or something like that that are on the arms of the machine, like where your legs go. I'll try and take a picture of it and throw it up on the screen, but unfortunately those rubber pads like actually cut the range of motion short on the Life Fitness adductor, and I find that I can't get the adductors fully shortened because the machine like simply runs out of room. So even though this gym does have multiple adductors in it, I really only find that this hoist one is really the only one that's very applicable to me. When I first started using this hoist adductor, I really wasn't that big of a fan of it, but it's actually grown on me quite a bit as we've gone through. This may be hard to tell from the video, but the hoist adductor has an adjustable back pad where you can make the back seat either completely vertical, like completely straight up or down, or you can have it like laying back to a very good degree. I have it in the middle setting. Again, I don't know if this is something you can even see from the video, but the back pad has 3 adjustable points, and I have it in the middle one. And as I've kind of gone through on this week after week after week, it's grown on me considerably. So when I first started training here, I wasn't a big fan of the hoist adductor, but like I've said a couple of times now, it has grown on me quite a bit. I am still doing 2 working sets on this particular exercise. The first set is going to be a 3-count pause, which is what you guys have been watching this whole time. And then the second set is just going to be what I consider to be a traditional set, where I am still hitting a peak contraction. I'm just not exaggerating it as long as I am here. The main reason why I'm exaggerating this as long as I am in my first set is because at this point the adductors are fresh in the session. I haven't hit them yet with anything. So while a muscle is fresh, I typically like to capitalize on getting it short and spending an extended period of time there because as the session goes on, my ability to fully shorten a muscle is going to diminish. And so I really kind of want to get everything out of the muscle from its shortened range perspective early on in the session while I can. By the time that I finish the hamstring curls and the adductor, I'm warmed up fully and ready to start attacking my RDLs. Now, a lot of people will question, why do I shift an exercise that is this taxing later on, further down into the session? You know, most people will come in and they'll do their hardest exercises first, and then they'll do kind of their easier accessory isolation type exercises towards the end of the session. And that is what I used to do for a long period of time. Over the course of probably the last year and a half or so, I've really gotten into a habit of kind of shifting my more taxing exercises later on into the session. This was something that I originally learned from Jordan Peters and have started to kind of implement on my own. And I really find with myself that it works very, very good. From my experience, if I do my very, very taxing exercises earlier on in the beginning of the session, all of the subsequent isolation work that follows is not as good. So for example, if I were to do my RDLs before I did my hamstring curls, I would find that my hamstring curl performance would not be as good as what it is if I had done the hamstring curls prior to the RDLs. And interestingly enough, you know, most people's gut reaction to that would be, okay, well, then your RDL performance is going to suffer because you did lying leg curls first. And actually, from my experience, that isn't the case at all. My Romanian deadlift performance is not impacted at all by doing hamstring curls first. And actually, I find that it improves by doing my hamstring curls first. Not only is my body more warmed up in the hips and the knees and the hamstrings and everything, which will allow me to attack the RDLs safely and be more safe with it. I also find that my mind-muscle connection with my hamstrings and glutes is improved if I take the time to actually train those muscles before I get into the RDL. This same thought process is going to apply later in the session when I do my leg extensions prior to doing my leg press. And if you guys have seen my other leg training sessions, you'll know that I like to do my leg extensions before I do any of my squatting patterns. And the exact same thought process applies there. I do find that if I do a squat pattern before I leg extend, that my leg extensions are impacted by that. But if I do it vice versa, where I leg extend before I squat, my squats are not impacted by that. So that is my personal preferred way to do things. It is a very, very good feeling when you finish the hardest exercise of the session, and then you know, sweet, I get to go home from here. Like that's like the best feeling in the world. Versus doing the hardest exercise of the session at the very beginning and then thinking, shit, I got to do leg extensions and leg curls and calf raises and adductors and all of that stuff yet. It's a big change in mindset. Very different, comparison between the two. And it is just the way that I personally prefer to set up my training sessions. Like I said, I don't find that it negatively impacts anything at all in terms of the performance on the bigger movements. And if anything, I find that it helps improve it because I can improve my mind-muscle connection and I can warm up my joints prior, which makes me feel safer and more mentally confident to be able to attack the subsequent multi-joint exercises. As you guys have probably noticed by now, once I finish the Romanian deadlifts, by this point, the adductor, glute, hamstring portion of the leg training is over, and it's time to start getting into some of the quad work. So I'm only doing 2 exercises on this particular leg session. I would say that legs B is more of a hamstring and glute dominant leg session for me. I don't really think about my leg days like that. Some people will have a quad day and then a hamstring day. I don't really think about it like that. I hit both muscle groups in the same session. I just like to think of it as one is like slightly more dominant than the other one. And this session, if we had to nitpick, would be slightly more hamstring and glute dominant than what it is quad dominant. But that doesn't mean that the quads are an afterthought on this particular session. And if anything, it's just as important as it is on my quad focus session. 2 sets of a leg extension here just to get blood in the knees and the quads warmed up and everything. And it's a really good transitional movement between the RDLs and the leg press. I find if I go straight from the RDLs into the leg press, my lower back just gets beat to shit. So the leg extension kind of gives me an opportunity to give my lower back a little bit of a break so that my lower back is a little bit more recovered by the time I get into the leg presses here. I was kind of in a hurry and I forgot to record my earlier warm-up sets. I think I did 3 or 4 warm-ups before I got the ones that you're seeing here. I would have done 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate, 4 plate, and then you saw the 5 plate warm-up earlier, and this is the 6 plate warm-up, which is my final warm-up before I get into my working set, which is just a little bit over 7 plates per side. It's 7 plates per side, and then a 2.5 on each side on top of that. So this is the Cybex squat press, which is very similar to the Techno Gym variation that I was using at my old gym. The only difference is that the Techno Gym model kind of bottomed out. I couldn't get as deep as I could on this Cybex leg press here. You can probably tell by this Cybex leg press that I can get deep as shit, and this thing is like super duper quad dominant. Which is exactly what I want out of a leg press. Up until this point, the vast majority of my leg pressing work has been pretty glute dominant, and that hasn't been by choice. I just have really poor ankle mobility. But as of late, I've really been a lot more strict with my foot placement and stuff like that to be able to make my squatting patterns just that much more quad dominant, because I really just want to bring up my quads. The last thing that I'll say about this particular leg press is, if you notice at the beginning, I had the guy who's over in the vertical leg press right now, I had him actually work the lever of the machine for me. The only thing that I don't like about this particular leg press is the handles. I wish that the handles were maybe like 3 to 4 inches longer. The way that the handles are placed right now, and based off of the length that they are, I can't even really fit the handle like in my full hand. I really only have the handle like in my bottom 3 fingers, and my thumb and my pointer finger like can't even like comfortably wrap around the handle. So what I have kind of used to remedy this is I use straps, and I strap into the leg press. I hope you guys noticed that, but I was wearing my lifting straps on there. And then once I get strapped into the leg press, I do ask somebody if they can work the lever for me so that I don't have to undo my strap just to pull the lever and then strap up again before I go. Obviously, towards the end of the set, I don't need that same person to rack it for me. At that point, I can unwrap my straps and I can rack it myself. But it is nice for that working set if I can find somebody to work that lever for me. It really just helps out quite a bit more. Again, I wouldn't have to do this if the handles were better, but because the handles are so poor, I really feel the only way that I can comfortably grab them is with my straps, and then that just provides an issue of not allowing me to be able to work the lever. So I just ask somebody to do that for me. And then the last exercise of the session that you're seeing here is a preacher curl, just 2 sets here. The bicep curls I'll either do at the very beginning or the very end. It just largely depends on the mood that I'm in and what's available at that particular time. I don't want to talk about arm training too much because honestly it's just super duper boring. On this particular leg session, I use this Life Fitness preacher curl. Again, another Life Fitness machine. Really like this, and I do it bilaterally. And just 2 good sets there, and then that is all that she wrote for this particular session. So that's really all that I have to talk about for this particular session, guys. If you guys have been following the channel, you'll know that the programming itself hasn't really changed a whole lot. Really, the main thing that's changing is just the brand of equipment, and everything that I'm using has been changing. So if you guys have any more specific questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will happily answer all of your guys' questions as honestly as I can. I'm going to wrap up the voiceover here, and I'll just let you guys enjoy the last little bit of this preacher curl set here with some audio. And I will talk to you soon, guys. Be on the lookout for the rest of my training sessions. I do plan on having those recorded and up on YouTube in the near future.